Not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.
You know, he's a professional trainer for On It and also for.
Did not know that.
Yeah,
I've seen
for
like
ladder.
a clip
For ladder.
of you doing it. And I was like, what the fuck? Look at this guy. Yeah.
It's a funny story when my buddy first got me to like get a whoop because I was like 40 pounds heavier. I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without losing my breath.
Mm-hmm.
He gets me on, and he's like jacked. This actor dude, and he gets me a whoop because he's wearing one, and we get a team going. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I like games, so I can do that with you. And when you join teams, you've had whoop, right?
Yeah.
When you join teams, there's like a background. The fucking background is him shirtless.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I did like a photo shoot with
With
them
them,
back
really?
in the day, so like I was
and
like
we're,
all
we're
over
friends
that
at the
app.
time, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And every time I check my where I'm at against my
It's
friend, my
him,
other
it's
friend's
me.
looking at me with his shirt off.
Yeah, dude. The first time I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. Like, because I saw you I don't know where it was, but it was you doing some workout. And I was like, holy shit, that's neat. Like, I was, I thought it ended at skateboarding and hamburgers. I was like, dude, it's fucking yo.
Yeah, man.
Man of many
That's it.
talents.
Keeps me together, man. Keeps me on my skateboard.
I
you
bet.
know.
I bet it does.
Yeah, I had a bunch of really bad surgeries and stuff. So
From skateboarding?
yeah,
Injuries.
Yep.
Bad
like
ones.
ACLs and stuff.
Feels like a
MCLs.
sport where there's no way that doesn't happen at some point.
Some people get lucky.
Really?
Like,
And they go the whole way?
Yeah.
It was so crazy when Tony was here, and he talked about the broken femur, which
That's
is like
a
that's a
gnarly
gnarly injury.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, I went to this surgeon, and they were like, he was like, when can I get back on? And they were like, huh, what?
Never.
And, like, I guess they didn't know who they were talking to or something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he got on, everything was painful still. And then another guy was like, oh, it's not aligned right. Like, we got to like
Re-break it.
like, well, we have to like, it's not placed right. And he was like, do it. Like, do whatever you got to do. And then he was just right back to it.
This is
Yeah,
him in his
man.
50s, right?
Yeah, dude. It's like a couple of years ago.
That's ridiculous. Because you got into like hardcore into exercise and working out, what, like in your 20s?
28-ish.
28, yeah.
Yeah, 28-ish. Kind of put down like alcohol and drugs and stuff. I was going pretty heavy and just got into like recovering from my ACL surgery. And I just kind of got into more and more like fitness and nutrition.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't drinking, I had like all this time on my hands. So
Yeah.
I just kept learning and just like turned into like a fanatic.
Yeah.
And then that was like my new drive. And I just wanted to.
That happens a lot with people that pass up on something else, like especially like substances and stuff. The whole drive to like, now I'm hardcore with like running or training. You know what I mean?
It's like you like need a vice.
Something.
You know,
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
something to drive you.
Something's got to fill the void or whatever there, right? And yeah, I know a lot of people that were like, oh, I used to drink a lot, and now they're like, now I run 20 miles a day. And you're like, God damn. But
It's like a different high.
It's a different
you know?
high. Yeah. It's very cool.
Hangovers are semi-similar, though. I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's true.
Your body probably aches after 20 miles a day. Although you probably get used to it like an alcoholic.
You definitely do get used to it.
You just drink more.
Yeah.
Right? You just wake up like slam another.
But for you, it's been able to keep you like, I mean, because at your age, there aren't a lot of other guys who are still pro and still actively skating like big things, right?
There's a handful, but I feel like nowadays, like skaters are more hip to it. Like they all kind of started like picking up little by little, like just implementing some training, implementing nutrition, and like not drinking as heavy.
Well, we know so much more now.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
It's like when you compare like a skater from like the 70s or something. Like, he's not going to know what we know so much about how the body works and recovers and nutrition. Like all this shit we take for granted. It's like, it's kind of things that we learned over the last 50 years.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's more like mainstream now too, so it's just like that's the practice. Like if you want to continue going on and like go for longevity with your career, it's like you kind of want to implement these things in. Even just a little bit can help you go a lot further.
Dude, in like 30 years ago, like basketball players didn't really it was seen as like, why would you lift weights?
For sure.
And
Like
now
you want to
it's-
be nimble and
Yeah, and it's gonna fuck up your stroke. You know,
Yeah.
like, and now it's unheard of to not lift in the NBA. I mean, they're all fucking huge.
Oh, they're beast. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, you can't just be big and tall. You got to be strong
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even for, even in my industry, like since I've started like lost weight and working out and exercising and lifting, it's crazy how like with the schedule I have, I mean, you're probably one of the only people in the world who has a crazier schedule than I do.
I'm not proud of it. Yeah.
But like, it's like, I have so much more energy now
Have
that
to.
Yeah,
it's not even like a negotiable.
and you would, in my industry, it's always like, don't trust a skinny chef, right? It's always like, it's always like
Serving you hamburgers and you're skinny.
Yeah, but
You got
it's
six
always,
pack.
but I mean, I learned by hanging out with you and and being around my other friends. It's like everybody else can hang. They can hang all night. They can drink. You aren't drinking, but like they wake up, they're fine. And I'm like, as soon as I started like losing weight and getting in shape, like everything started to turn around. So
For sure.
It's a total game changer. And it is true that the busier you are in your work life,
yeah,
and also as you age, and if you want to throw in travel, if you're not physically active, it is like it's gonna fall apart. It's gonna fall apart. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Do you train on tour and stuff?
100%. Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, it's like, with the exception of like getting sick, which has happened a few times.
Oh
where
yeah,
you're
if you
just
don't,
like,
if you have bad sleep and stuff.
yeah, like, we still, but like almost even then we still do something. But on, you're feeling normal, healthy. It's like we land and we go to the gym.
Get after it, yeah.
Or it's like, what time we have to get to the venue? Okay, 8. Sorry, we're gonna go at 5. So we'll go from the workout to shower, change, and go right to the venue. So you're like coming off a workout.
Oh, you're fired up.
Yeah,
man.
you're like,
Hell
you feel
yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard when you're on the road to like keep in the routine at all?
I mean, the variables are, because we travel like city to city to city, is sometimes you're like, oh man, today's gym sucks, right? Because like you get these like 5-star gyms where you're like, holy shit, this is unbelievable, to like, this is nothing. Like this is like a treadmill from like 1985, and they have a few dumbbells. But what you end up doing, like in anything, is you just adapt. So you're like,
just
all right,
make it
today
work.
we'll just do something with this bullshit that they have here. That's the thing. I mean, food is definitely, I think, a easier thing to manage at home.
Yeah.
Where you're in total control of everything. Then sometimes you're on the road and you're just like trying to make something work, and you're, or like,
It's rough.
that can be challenging. You could still, I think, do well enough. I mean, you don't have to like completely throw in the towel and be like, fuck it, we're gonna like. But it's harder to get like sometimes the high quality stuff and like stay with like how you want to do your day.
I always say, like, when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
You know? If you like really want it on the road, you can eat fairly clean. It might not be up to your standards.
Well, it
but
depends on what your road is. Like, cause like for me, when I'm out and I'm staying in a hotel and I'm waking up, going straight to the restaurant, and then getting out at 2:00 in the morning, there really aren't a lot of options. And
Yeah,
so
the late night shit. Can be rough.
it's tough. And then you're on a plane, and then you get up the next morning, and you got to get right back into the restaurant. And it's like it's either like I can get 6.5 hours of sleep if I don't work out, or I can get less. And it's like, well, I gotta what do I prioritize? Actually getting rest,
sometimes the
because I'm about to
sleep
do a
is
15-hour day.
Yep.
So like for me it's super hard. I've just noticed whenever I'm on the road, it's hard for me to, like, when I'm home I can get like a good 6-7 days a week. I have a system, I have a structure, I can do it. But man, I lose it when I go out.
We're good about, like, because Sean, comes
Yeah.
with me. It's like we're pretty good about, you kind of call it on in the moment of like, there's certain days where you're like, yo, let's just sleep today.
Yeah,
And it's like,
for sure.
we're not like, come on, fuck it. It's like,
No, we need to prioritize.
Take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll sleep today.
Recovery is a big thing.
Oh yeah,
You know,
and you feel it. Like there's days where you pushed it and you're like, that was a mistake. Like that, we shouldn't have done that today.
That's
I don't feel good.
when the risk of injury is like a little bit higher too. As
Yeah.
if you haven't slept well, haven't ate well, and you're just like,
Yeah.
let's go. Like, we got this sick gym, let's do it. And you're
Yeah.
just like,
No, you got to get your rest, bro. Yeah, but we worked out today. It's how we started the
Hell
day.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's the best. When I'm home, I like to start the day with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me too, that's been my thing, is like get up and immediately get in the gym.
Yeah, it sets your day off.
Yeah.
It's also, there's a psychological aspect that you did something that's hard, like you finished something hard, and you have your whole day ahead of you. So it's like your mindset of like you start with like a win.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to go into the rest of your day.
Is that idea right? If you make your bed, that's like your first win of the day.
Fuck
kind of
that.
thing?
I'm not doing that. But yeah.
You can't outsource exercising, unfortunately.
No. I'm not making a bed.
Dude, thank you for not just being here, but for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for doing this.
Appreciate it, man.
Obviously, we want to have you on for a ridiculous amount of reasons. But, I mean, in the world of comedy, one of the biggest there is and ever was. I mean, you sold out, what, Madison Square Garden like yesterday?
That was last night?
2 nights ago?
2 nights ago.
Insane, dude.
I mean, you've got a
That was insane.
you've had a ton of Netflix specials. You've got your own show coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
I mean, you're at like this level that there are now probably tens of thousands of young comics who like that's all they could hope to ever, you know, get.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
It's
and
crazy.
you know, I'm sure it's not been an easy path. And
No.
you know, would love to. I mean, when did you even know you were funny? How'd you get into like stand up?
Ah, man, you know, I moved a lot as a kid, a lot. Like I went to, you know, one school for first grade, another school for second and third grade, another school for fourth grade, a different school for fifth and sixth grade, a different school for seventh and eighth grade, moved to a high school, and then in the middle of ninth grade, moved to another high school.
Damn.
So I was like, you're the new kid a lot.
Yeah, wow.
So
Why so much movement?
it was all because, honestly, my dad was working for the same company for 40 plus years, eventually. And within that company, he was moving within the company. So we were always like, you know, moving. I lived in Cincinnati, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Vero Beach, Florida. So like every time you move, and then sometimes within a city, you would start at one school and then for whatever reason you switch to another school. So it was always like moving. And I think, you know, it's so everything for like when you're a kid, you kind of forget sometimes to be like socially like find a group of friends. And I think that like being new so many times, you're like, you kind of develop this muscle for like, oh, okay, I can make people laugh, you know, and then they like
That's the
you.
thing that
How
gets you
to
into
bring friends in, basically.
How to make friends.
Yeah,
It's like
crazy.
you just start, and then you just kind of would know I'm starting again. All right, you know, that's what I'll do is I'll make them laugh. And so, you know, you develop this, you feel like you have a skill set for it. And then there's this thing too, I think, where you feel like, oh, I'm good. I'm really good at this. Like, you know, at some point you tell yourself that you're like, there's other kids that are funny, but like I'm different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably like, I assume that's how like maybe an athlete feels, where you're like, I have like some type of,
Certain things that you're really good at.
yeah, you're like, I have some type of gift for this in a way. And I really kind of thought that like when I was getting into like middle school and high school, I was like, no, I think I actually have like a skill set for this.
That's sick.
You know, and I did like, I remember there was like an improv troupe thing, like program, like a local theater. And I did it in ninth grade.
Damn.
And like I remember the person was like, yo, you're like really funny, man. Right. And like, I'm a ninth grader.
Ninth grade, yeah.
And I was
that's
like,
wild.
he goes, no, like you're like fucking Belushi. Like you're really funny. And I was like, oh yeah, I always thought I was pretty funny. He was like, no, like you should fucking try to do this stuff, you know? And I was like, yeah, maybe I will try it. And I kind of got it in my head that like I have a thing for this. And then I remember, you know, I did another couple performances like in school, like one-off things, like hosted a talent show and like would do things and like get like huge laughs. So it becomes like addictive, right?
Yeah.
And then in college, I remember I was like, I want to be a director. I want to go to film school. I don't even know if I applied to one. I did so poorly in high school. Like my GPA was the second lowest GPA. Like, and I saw the sheet.
Of the graduating class?
I went to I went to a really small high school, and everybody had an appointment with the counselor type.
Yeah.
About like, what are your plans? And, you know, the kids were like, I'm going to Stanford. Like, those are their plans? And they're like, that's great. And then I went in and he was like, you're not going to Stanford, right? And I was like, no. And he was like, you don't have a lot of options, bro. And I was like, really? And I remember he left his office during our meeting, and on his desk was the piece of paper. in descending order GPAs.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
So, and I looked at it and it was like, and it was second to last.
Wow.
Second lowest GPA. The only guy dumber than me was named Rocky. I was like, that's fucking bad.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, shit. I didn't know it was that. Like, I knew I wasn't a good student, but I was like,
You
this
figured
is bad.
there was a lot of bad students.
Yeah, I was like, there's other kids for sure that are doing it like me.
Were you just like bad in school or something? Or
I mean, I wasn't like, straight up stupid. I think I was just a pretty lazy
you
student.
just didn't really care?
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I really I know I didn't really apply myself. I just would kind of, whatever.
Well, you're moving around all the time too. I'm sure like that could kind of mess with
It kind of messes with that, I think. And I also think that like, I go, I don't know, I'm not going to be, I've never felt like an academic star. I'm not going to start like, and I didn't even realize how committed and dedicated so many of my classmates must have been. Like they were really all-star students,
Solid, yeah.
Yeah. They would post, because at this small school, they posted where people are going. Like on
wild.
a bulletin board. It was like a lot of Ivy League shit,
Crazy.
and then they were like,
Did they have a rejects one too?
I don't know where you think you're going, but it ain't going to be on the wall. I was like, fuck.
Oh, no.
But anyway, I didn't go to film school, but I went to a small college in North Carolina called Lenore-Rhine, like a really small liberal arts college. And they had a communications program. And in my mind, that was like, because they have, within communications, you can do print, you can do radio, you can do TV production. And I was like, oh, I'll get into that track because that's like, to my mind, adjacent to film, right? Like
Yeah.
it's TV production, it's the cameras. And of course, everybody in that program just wanted to be like, producing like news segments. And I would make comedy shorts.
Oh,
right?
that's sick.
But they would be like, what is this? Like, the teacher was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, it's a diarrhea commercial, where you put the thing in your ass and then it freezes your shit. And he was like, okay, great. Like, he would look at it for like the editing and the production value, but I would just keep making like comedy shorts.
But they were fun. They were fun to make.
They're fun to
For you,
make,
yeah.
and you feel like you're making comedy, right? Like, so you're kind of like telling. I think it's all of it was like my punting down the road, the fact that I wanted to perform and didn't know how to say I want to perform.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like you're working up the balls to say, I want to be a performer, and knowing that like, I don't know, like it's you could be rejected so hard from that. And I didn't want to say it outright, I think, like as a freshman in college. So I'm like, oh, I'll make these things. And it's a safe way to make it.
Yeah, to slowly introduce.
To
yourself
slowly
into
get
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Were you always like a big comedy fan?
Yes.
Movies, stand up, everything, or
I mean, I loved comedy. I mean, as a kid, first special I ever saw was Bill Cosby himself, which is like it's a fucking brilliant stand-up special that holds up, which is why like a lot of older specials don't hold up.
Yeah.
The references and everything. But Cosby wasn't like, topical. Like he was just talking about life stuff. So if you watch it today, you're like, oh yeah, this is like,
Just life. Yeah.
funny.
yeah, it's still funny. It's
Yeah.
still, he's talking about like a dentist appointment for like 20 minutes. And you're like, yeah, people still go to the dentist, like, I thought it was so funny. And then I saw like Eddie Murphy, and then, I watched specials then. I loved comedy movies. All the stars of that day were kind of like Bill Murray, John Candy, all the Ivan Reitman produced stuff, the John Hughes stuff, and then, Eddie again, like Eddie stand-up, Eddie in movies, SNL. I think most people I know have like a period growing up where you're like into SNL.
yeah.
And like my class as a fan was like a fucking crazy time, because when I was like in, probably like 5th grade or 6th grade, it was like Sandler, Farley, Spade, Rock. Like it was like a really good time to be a fan. And so like big SNL fan in that time. And yeah, I mean, we would come to school like a lot of kids do, and you like kind of recite all the lines and like, do bits with each other. But yeah, I was such a huge fan, but I didn't think I would, I don't know, I thought I was funny, but I for some reason I was like, I didn't think about stand up as a track. I thought of it as like acting.
Like making funny movies.
Yeah.
And
I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm like a good mimic. You know, I'm good at like delivering a line. So to me, it was like a natural be like, oh, and I'd done like these little small plays and like improv things, like not consistently, but a few times where I was like, I can do that. Like I can be the funny guy in a thing.
So when you're doing these comedy-driven commercials in college, were you directing? Were you writing, acting, all of them?
All of them. Sometimes doing all three. I didn't really appear in other people's stuff, so I think it was usually my stuff. And I also got, it's important. Like, I remember I got encouragement from like it was one of the professors there that I forgot what class she taught me in, but I did some type of. She was like, look, don't take an acting class. And I go, what? She goes, whatever you're doing, she's like, you have a thing that you're doing. Don't let somebody fuck it up. Just do what you're doing. Like, you're very funny. And
That's dope.
I was like, oh, I still remember it vividly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then I had interned. You had to have an internship to graduate in the communications track. So I interned for America's Most Wanted, the summer after junior year, so like right before senior year. Mm-hmm. And I worked as like an associate producer for one of their shows called Final Justice. And
That's dope.
produced like 50 episodes over the summer.
Really?
They got free labor out of me. Like I produced episodes.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
And so when I was getting ready to graduate, they offered me a full-time job on America's Most Wanted to research like basically fugitives and then pitch stories, right? So I accepted that, knowing full well that like I wish I was on camera, like doing comedy, not behind the scenes.
Were you looking at it as a means to an end? Like, did you feel like you were putting in your hours, or was this just like something to tide you over while you were still in the industry?
I feel like it was like another one of those kind of adjacent things where you're like,
At least I'm nearby.
at least I'm like, this is television. Yeah. We're catching fucking murderers, but like, you feel like you're
Yeah.
somehow in entertainment.
You're getting closer, right?
You're getting closer. It's
Yeah.
still like looking back, it's like a level of delusion, right? Where you're like, it's an acceptable level. Like you're making a living, and then I remember like, I did that job for a few months on it was like a 3-month contract, and then they were offering me a longer contract, and I had a boss there, who I worked directly with. And I think we had lunch, and I was like, I think I'm gonna go to LA and like get into writing. I didn't even say. I think I was like writing and directing or something like that.
You're in Cincinnati right now, or
No, I'm in DC.
DC, okay.
Working for the show. And he was like, yeah, man, like you should like go do, like if that's what you want to do, like you're 22, go do that. Like this place is here. Like,
Go for it.
yeah,
Try it out.
You should go try it, man.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
go try that. Like if that's what you feel, like go try it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm not going to take the offer. And then it was terrifying, like to throw your shit in a U-Haul, drive to LA.
It's a leap of
not
faith.
knowing anybody?
I knew one guy. He had been my roommate for 1 year in college, my sophomore year of college. He was from LA, so it was like the only guy I knew. And I remember I did like what's considered like the goofy cardinal sin in LA, which I contacted Copelson Entertainment. They produced like The Fugitive, Murder at 1600, like that style of film. Hugely successful production company. And I was like, can I intern there? Like, because then it'll be like in movie making.
For sure.
And they were like, come in for an interview. And I showed up for the interview in a suit. And they were like, you don't wear suits here, buddy. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to, because like, that is something like people in LA mock. Is like if you wear a suit to something. Only people who wear suits are agents.
Yeah.
And even they have become more casual. But like you see, like sometimes you'll see somebody young going into like an entertainment building wearing a suit, and you're like, oh, they just got here. Like,
It is
Yeah,
funny being in
they're
LA,
new.
like, because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
And you go to a restaurant or whatever, and it's kind of like the more homeless somebody looks,
Yeah.
You just know the
Yeah,
more
it's the
successful.
CEO of the building. Yeah. It's totally true.
Like if they look homeless and they're in this room, they're clearly not homeless.
Yeah.
And therefore they probably own the place.
Yeah, and sometimes they're like homeless chic.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's kind of cool homeless attire.
I always loved that too. And then when I came out here to Texas, there was like these places with these dress codes, and I'm just like, why do you have to dress up to eat this steak? Like I'm
There's
so
a few-
used to LA where
Yeah.
you could have sweatpants on and eat whatever
For
you
anything,
want as
yeah.
long as you can afford it.
A lot of no hat rules here for some reason.
Yeah. That's like a throwback, I think, to like Southern etiquette,
Which
like
I
the
get.
gentlemanly stuff of like remove your hat. Probably goes back fucking 60 plus years, right?
Oh, it definitely does. But I get bad hat hair when I wear hats. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fine for you to pull your hat off.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work for me. So
Your hat's your hair is amazing, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, especially.
But I did this special for you, and I wasn't wearing a hat. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I miss hair. I got to wear wigs in my new show and like a bunch of different wigs. And then one day I was playing I'll just say a foreigner. And they gave me this like luscious shoulder length dark
Damn.
hair.
I've seen.
And
Let's
I
go.
looked in the mirror and I was like, maybe transplants. Not a bad idea.
You could just go wigs. I mean, there's now, there's plenty of like musicians or artists or whatever, like singers who just every day of the week have a different hairstyle.
Yeah, the wigs thing, I'm not like I know somebody that does wigs. I'm like, nah, dude, you gotta
could be the
go
wig
under the
dude.
knife or just go bald. Don't be the wig guy. The wig is.
I
just
feel like
crazy.
if you can pull off a bald head, and you're good. You don't
Yeah.
need to go back.
My theory on because people are like, why don't you do it? Like you can afford to do it. Why don't you do? And I go, I think you will act on things. It's how you act. If it bothered me enough, I'd have already done it. Like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if my teeth were all crooked, I promise you would see me straighten
them
them out
fixed,
because
yeah.
it would bother me. But like I think, and if my head had like a fucked up shape to it, I'd be like, hey, do the fucking transplant today.
Yeah,
But I feel like
yeah.
if once
fact
you've
that it's
established yourself as a dude with a bald head, it would almost be weird to
It would be
show up.
weird.
Like,
Also in
with a full
comedy.
yeah.
In comedy, if you're like a dramatic guy, it's like it's fine. But in comedy, it's like it's considered, like your flaws are actually advantages in comedy. You know what I mean? Like if your nose is
use
crooked, if your gap in your teeth, it's like it makes you relatable, kind of down to earth. Like so, if you're just like, if you're trying to look like a fucking I don't know, like Brad Pitt or what, like some beautiful guy, that's not funny.
It doesn't work,
so you
yeah.
just go like, yeah, whatever it is, you just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine you showing up and doing a show with a wig would be like Bert showing up and not taking his shirt off.
Be very strange. Yeah.
Equally offsetting to the people.
I think people would probably at mine they'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Maybe after the show comes out, though, you could start doing characters.
Doing characters would be fun. Yeah, it's full of characters. Yeah, for sure.
So, so you show up in a suit,
Yeah.
for this interview. Do they throw you out? You get the job? What happens?
Well, they gave me an internship, and
dope.
which was like it was actually here's the thing, it's an unpaid internship.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm not making any money,
Yeah.
but I started to learn about scripts.
Yep.
Because you start doing like basically treatments, like where you read a script and you have to do a summary, a log line, and you have to read the whole thing, and then you have to explain why it's bad or why it's good.
It's like a
And
book
you-
report almost.
Yeah, it's like a book report, and you have to read so many scripts, and most of them are bad. And so it really is like, I don't know, it's probably like similar to going to like a great restaurant and being like, I want to learn how to do this. And they're like, great, like chop onions. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay.
I mean, I
Yeah.
did that for years. I mean, it's now illegal, but staging was like a part of our culture.
Yeah.
You had to go work for free in a restaurant. Like basically the idea was like, if they'd pay you right out the gate, it wasn't a good restaurant.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to work at one of the best, there was a line, and there was a line of people to work there for free.
Yeah.
I spent years and years working for free. Usually I'd have like a side job because I needed to survive. But at the nice restaurants, the Michelin-starred restaurants, I'd always work for free. Even to the point where, like, I mean, there was a restaurant called Providence. You know Providence in LA?
Yeah.
And I literally, that was like my first like fine dining meal. And I think my mom took me there for like my 20th birthday or something like that, 19th birthday. And I was cooking at the time, and I told the server, the maitre d', or my mom did really. And I was like, can I just sweep the floors? Like, can I be in? And so they let me. And so like for the first couple of weeks, I'd stand there with a broom in the kitchen and just watch,
clean it up. Yeah.
just watch what they were doing. And then over time, I mean, and I was already a professional cook. I'd been cooking for 3 years. I was running the line in a nice-ish restaurant.
Yeah.
But then here it was like, I mean, it'd be like going from, I'm doing okay in pickup games over here, and now I'm actually on the court with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, I feel like you kind of have to pay your dues.
You have to do it,
which sucks now because now it's illegal. It's been illegal for probably about a decade now.
By the way, I love the fact that like really quality restaurants have such an emphasis on cleanliness. Like if you go into a real nice restaurant, it's like you can't eat off the floor. These places are like so impeccably clean.
You can almost see whether or not, not so much anymore, but like when I was coming up, if you went and looked inside of a walk-in refrigerator in a restaurant, you could tell whether or not they had a Michelin star.
Just by how?
If every single container matched and every single container was see-through and every single container had the same size tape cut with scissors, with the same color Sharpie, and you're like, oh, this place has a Michelin star.
You could just tell. Yeah.
Well
every
organized.
time. Because even if it was a great restaurant and the place was all like in disarray, like that place doesn't have a star.
Do you know where I worked? Did I ever tell you that? Where I worked in LA? Chibo on Sunset?
Not the sushi place.
No, it's not a sushi place.
I don't know Chibo.
You never went to Chibo?
Chibo.
It's been there now for like...
What kind of restaurant is it? Why am I not?
So it has kind of more... It's the same people that own Pache. You know Pache in Laurel Canyon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're pulling up Chibo?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's on... it's closed now. Oh, it might be closed pandemic-wise or something. Maybe that's why. So it was... I was there for the opening. I was one of the people that opened it. I didn't realize.
Click on the pictures. Chibo. Why does that not?
So on Sunset
Yeah,
between Fairfax and maybe La Brea or something, like on the north side of the street.
So weird because I lived right by there.
Yeah, where is it? There's Chibo. All right, so that's between. Am I right?
On Sunset, Gardner.
Yeah.
I lived like 3 blocks from there.
That's insane. So I was like,
There's so many goddamn
I was on the
restaurants in
staff
LA.
of like opening that place.
Really? What were
Yeah.
you doing?
I was the counter service, but like for an opening where it's like they're trying to figure it out, you end up doing so many other things. So like,
for sure.
You're working the counter, you're answering phones, you're helping he's like, grab the prosciutto out of the fridge.
Wait, it was kind of like a fat. What year did that open?
It would have been maybe 03.
Was it like a famous chef or a famous adjacent chef, and it was like a kind of fast casual place?
Yeah, so it was like because the Pache guy,
Yeah.
was this dude, such an like out of fucking Central Casting. This fucking guy would show up in like his old, fucking what is it called? I can't even think of the like an Italian car from the '60s with the top down. What's the name of the car? I can't think of it right now. The Giulia. Who makes that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Alfa Romeo, like
Alfa
an old
Romeo, yeah.
Alfa Romeo.
I would say ask me a restaurant question,
And-
I'll know, but apparently I
And
don't.
he's like driving it and like screaming it's like such like performative. What the fuck? And we're like, oh, it's this guy smoking as well. Then the girlfriend would come in and they would like argue, and then they would make out, and like this guy is out of his fucking mind, just out of his mind. And so I didn't know the significance at the time that like Pache was pretty highly regarded. It wasn't like Michelin, but everyone like was like, this is a great restaurant. And so he partnered with another guy to open Chibo. And dude, it must have it could not have closed that long ago because it was there.
I think I started.
Ago.
I think I started cooking in like 2000. I'm not good with math. I was 18, and it's 20 years ago. What is 20 years ago? So it would have been 05.
05, yeah.
And I think at that time, I was only really going after, like, what is the Michelin-starred restaurant? And that was only restaurants, like, I kind of cared about.
Yeah.
So it sounds familiar. I think maybe I worked for a chef who worked there in the past.
Well, Chibo would not have been on that track. Pache would have been, like, kind of...
Pache, I know. Yeah.
So, but I remember I did the thing where I was like, hey, man, I want to learn how to cook to the eccentric chef. He was like, all right, come here tomorrow, like, be here at 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the time, what I was doing was, like, every night, like, around midnight or so, my roommates and I would just rip crazy like, just crazy bongs, you know, just clear bongs for hours, and then play Madden and then go to sleep. And I came in that first day, and he was like, dude, you're a smart guy. Like, fucking get it together, okay?
Damn.
And I was like, all right. And then I remember he was like, go get the bacon, like, out of the walk-in. And I was like, and I've always been like, I think to this day, where I can't find things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always like, hey, where's to everybody?
That's a thing.
Right? And everyone's like, it's over here. And I'm like, so I remember I'm in there, and it's like, it's probably 3 minutes, but it feels like 30. And I'm like
searching.
And I just fucking bring it out something, and he's like, that's not bacon, dude. And I was like, yeah, I brought out the wrong shit. And he was like, come on, man. Like, whatever. I lasted 3 days doing this, of like coming in and prepping stuff. And he was like,
Working for free, obviously.
Yeah. I still chop peppers to this day, like the way that
He
they
showed
taught
you?
me that day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
I still do it that way. And also, like, clear, like, avocados, which is like throw the knife in, twist
Turn it, yeah.
right. And I've seen people see me like do that, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, this is what you do in a kitchen." Right? Like, and so, like, but he was just like, "Go back to the front desk, okay? Like, go work that." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm too high, literally, to do this, or too hungover." But back in the at the internship, I'm doing coverage, right, which is what that's called, like, writing up all that shit. And after a while, you're like, man, I'm not making a fucking penny doing this. And you're learning about scripts, and you're learning what's good and what's bad. And finally, at one point, you know, they're like, most people who intern at production places like that, their desire is to become an executive. They want to be the president of a production company or a studio or something. I was like, I have fucking no desire to do that. So their natural thing is intern and then work a desk, meaning like be the assistant to an executive. And I was like, absolutely not. I have zero desire to do that. So they go, well, you seem to be into this script stuff. There's a producer we know who's looking for someone to do what you're doing here for free. And I'm like, oh, great. Bro, I go to this guy's multi-million-dollar house in the hills, and I, you know, intern or interview with him, and he's like, yeah, and you know, he's like, okay, so I need someone to go start reading these scripts. And I was like, yeah. He goes, cool, I'll pay you $15 a script. And I remember just being like, cool, great. You don't realize that, like, to read a script and write detailed coverage, it's a multi-hour invest, right? And you got to do it for a piece of shit script, and you got to do it for a great script. Now, a great script, it's fun to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, okay, so you realize, it's taking me like, you know, a few days to go do multiple, like, and at the end of the day, he's like, yeah, here's $90, right? Like, I spent like 4 days doing this, and you're like, wait a minute. But I had this slow, like, I remember this is all part of it, that as I was reading these bad ones, I started to get more cynical. And my coverage started to be funny.
Oh wow.
And
sick.
Like, and it was like, it was funny, and I was just trashing what I had read. But it's like not serving him as a producer. It's like, here's a piece of comedy material.
Yeah.
And so he's like, hey man, like, he's like, this is very funny, but what the fuck is this? And I was like, I don't know, it's fucking garbage, man. You're giving me garbage to read, right? And it's like, but that's how you find good scripts. There's no other way. You have to read them.
Yeah.
And you have to like have conversations about why is it. Some of them you dismiss right away, but the problem is that job doesn't allow you to just go, no, this one's bad. You have to do the coverage.
So were you like sleeping on your college roommate's like couch? Like how were you surviving?
Yeah,
how
we
were you
had
surviving?
we had like we were at first it was 2 of us. Then a third friend was like, hey, I'm moving out there. We were like, great, because this is another guy that can. So we're living in Hollywood on Mansfield between Fountain and Santa Monica.
Okay.
Literally on the prostitution and heroin track, like of that neighborhood. That's where trans prostitutes and heroin addicts would go. So that's where we're living. We go out on the balcony and just like watch people either pick up a prostitute or buy heroin. Just like that's what they're doing there. So it's like, yeah, we're getting by because we're living in a horrible place. You know what I mean? Like, it's terrible.
So were you telling yourself during this time though that like were you thinking like I have an ambition to get to a place and I'm doing this to get there? Or
I think I'm still doing that thing where I'm kicking the ball like a little bit further down the road. Like I'm getting closer. And then at some point I'm like, well, I forget how I pulled the trigger, but I decided to go to the Groundlings because the Groundlings is like a famed LA improv school. And that's where a bunch of notable people had gone and were either working in television, movies, SNL. And I was like, this is what I need to do. And I told Jimmy Fallon this because I just did The Tonight Show. Because his story was I think he went to the Groundlings, made it into the troupe, got on SNL, and it was like, oh, and I was like, oh, that's what I'll do. Like I thought it was a normal thought. Like I'll just go there. They'll definitely pick me.
This was just something that popped into your head.
Yeah, like they'll pick me once they see me. They'll pick me to be on SNL, and then I'll do that for a few years, and then I'll go do movies. I was like, that's a good plan.
oh, easy.
Yeah.
I'll go that way.
That's a good plan. And I went to the Groundlings. You have to sign up to take the classes first. So I got to skip introduction. They're like, oh yeah, because you kind of audition. They're like, you can skip introduction, you go to level 1, then you go to level 2, and then their next level is called writing lab. That's where they really teach you to write characters and sketches and all this stuff. But when I was in level 2, two of my classmates were also stand-up comics. Nick Wegener, who's now a writer, like he's a working writer, and Sam Tripoli, who you know, right? And I remember we were doing the class, and both of them at different times were like, bro, you got to try stand-up. And I was like, what? They're like, you would like stand-up. You got to try stand-up. I was like, I don't know how you would start doing that. And Sam took me out, drove me around LA one day to watch him go do spots. Like he's like, just watch what I do. So we pull up to a place, he'd walk in, talk to a guy, it's his turn, he does a spot. I watch him do it, and then he's like, all right, now we're going to go over here. We jump in the car, drive down to the next place, watch him do a spot. And I was like, oh, okay. So it kind of gives you like, because you kind of go like, well, how do you start it? Like,
How do you do this? Yeah.
And then Nick, who was also like, try stand-up. I'm telling you, I've watched you in class. You would like stand-up. He walks me into this place. I don't know if it's still called the Cat Club.
I know the Cat Club, yeah. I don't know if it's still there or not.
It was on Sunset, like on the Strip. He walks me up to a lady, and they're having stand-up night, like at this little place. And he goes, oh, hey, Kathy, that was her name. He goes, Kathy, this is Tom. He's a comic. You should book him. Right? And I'm like,
You've never done anything before.
Never done stand-up. And she goes, oh, yeah, I have a show like April 12th. You want to get on that? And I was like, yeah, sure. And she was like, all right, cool, you're booked. We're going to have it at the Good Bar right down the street. And I was like, cool, see you then. And then we walk out of there, and he's like, good, you got a spot. And I'm like,
what do I do?
And I was like, okay. And it was probably like 3 weeks away. And so I remember I would
got to get prepped.
I would like write shit down. I'd be like, that's a good one. Fucking just writing it all down. And then I still remember like the day of that show. You know, like you ever have like I missed my flight anxiety where you sit up and you're like, oh fuck, did I miss my flight?
Yep.
Like, like it's that alert that's internal. Bro, I popped up at like 5 a.m. Like shit, that show is tonight.
Oh shit.
And I was like, holy shit. And I, spent the day, like the entire day, with like massive anxiety.
For sure.
And I had my thing written out, but I was like, I'd never done it.
Had you bounced what you had written down like
Zero.
off your friend? Okay, so this is just completely your first time ever writing stand-up.
Not only that, this is how dumb I am. I invited people to come
Holy shit.
and didn't tell them it was my first time.
No way.
So I was like, oh, I got a show tonight. And they're like, you do stand-up? And I was like, yeah.
Let's go.
Not,
dude.
I'm going to try it. But like, yeah, I do stand-up.
Have
And
you ever
they were-
done like any public speaking or anything like that in front of huge crowds?
Probably to like
Diarrhea commercials.
like the I did like a little thing, like in high school, like I said, college a couple times, where it's like that moment where you
Presentation.
present, and I would always go to make them laugh,
Yeah.
to relax myself.
Okay.
But I mean, this is
It's been
different
so many
beast.
years too,
Yeah.
since you've done that.
I've never been like, hey, make them laugh for 10 minutes. you
Yeah.
know? So I get to that.
Oh, wow.
I get to that place. It's called the Good Bar. It's right where West Hollywood becomes Beverly Hills. It's right on the line
Okay.
on Sunset, on the right-hand side, on the north side of the street. And so I'm there fucking hour early, right? Because you're just like, I got to get in the space. Where's the mic? Where's the stage? Like, you just.
Feel it all out.
And I remember, I really want to know what the order is, because that's a big thing when you go do a showcase show. You're like, what's the order of this? Like, when am I up? Because especially on your first fucking time. And so they have the list. You're 6. I was like, okay, I'm 6. All right. And I go to the bar, and I'm not like this now, but I just pounded a beer, right? Because I was like literally shaking. And the MC goes up there, and so I have I have 5 people ahead of me. And she does like her introduction stuff, couple jokes. And she's like, all right, let's bring up your first comic, Tom Segura. Tom?
Oh no.
So I'm like, and I run up there.
So you're standing at the bar.
Yeah, I'm standing at the bar. I run up there, and as I'm saying, like, shaking her hand, I go, I thought it was 6. And she goes, oh, yeah. That. Like, just threw me into it. I did whatever, 7 to 10 minutes. I forget. I have it on tape somewhere.
That's a long time for a first time, right?
Yeah.
7 to 10 minutes?
Yeah. And I didn't tell any of them it was my first time.
Heavy set right there.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, everyone tells me, because like usually first timers kind of go one of two ways, like really bad or like passable, like, and it was passable. Like I got some laughs. Like it wasn't a well-designed crafted set, but like, I don't think people knew this is definitely your first, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. You're able to like hold your own.
kind of,
basically.
like
For the most part.
Yeah, the parachute opened, and I was like, just fucking get me down, like.
Have you ever thought about whether or not it was better that she threw you in with only a 10-second notice?
Many times. I think it would have been worse the other way.
Having all that anxiety build up,
Just
3 more
away.
guys, 2 more
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Took it away.
Was it just like here we go, I'm just gonna jump and see what happens kind of deal?
I mean, I feel like it was no choice, right? Like, I mean, I had my ideas of like what I was going to talk about up there, and I remember, like I said, I have it on tape. I haven't watched it in, I don't know, forever. But I have.
You ever thought about releasing it?
Yeah, I feel like I have to go find it. It's like in a.
Make it like an intro to a
Drawer.
special or something.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Actually. But anyway, I definitely, the other thing that happens with like, I think first time doing stand up is a lot of people go, I never want to do that again. Like if they just had wanted to try it, or they're like, oh shit, like I want to do that again.
Yeah.
Almost like,
You get
honestly,
juiced.
yeah, like the jumping out of a plane kind of thing, where you're like,
fuck that, or let's go.
Like you get the taste of the rush.
Yeah.
And it becomes so addictive that you just, so then you just start pursuing it. But the funny thing is, I forget how long after, maybe sometime within the next year, I get the call from the Groundlings to do writing lab. But by the time that call came, I had started to do some gigs and get paid, $50.
Yeah.
Maybe $100, $50, $100. And for whatever reason, I saw the idea of going to that thing as taking me away from stand-up. So I passed. I was like, no.
Oh, really? So you like fell in love with it?
I fell in love with it. I also saw going to this class where like, I think one of the classes fell on a night too, where like I already had a show booked. And I was like, I can't do the class over a stand-up gig. You know, like this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And the rule that, at least at the time, was that they will call you twice to do writing lab. Like they'll give you a I can't do it now. The second time, if you pass, they don't call you again.
Got it. So it's like, hey, we have a semester coming up available. No, okay, you get one more shot.
One more shot. I got the one more shot. I said no, and I never heard from them again, which is like their policy. And then I just kept doing stand up. I mean, of course, had all these different jobs, like Chibo we were talking about, a pizza place on Riverside Drive in the
Making
valley.
pizzas.
I was just like serving them.
Okay. This is how you were surviving too.
This is how you're
while
surviving.
doing all of this.
Yeah. I worked for a place called Hollywood Locations, which as a site rep.
Yeah, scouting thing.
So that was the thing where like if you were coming to shoot and like you allowed them to shoot at your house, I would show up and make sure the production company didn't fuck up your house. I was called a site rep.
Okay.
So again, you're kind of like
Adjacent
to entertainment. The whole time I gotta say, I really wanted to be on camera, like acting and doing those things. But, you know, I booked a few commercials. I did commercials. I booked a massive commercial campaign to be the spokesman for Subway. But that just never aired.
Sick, dude.
Yeah. So like some of those things would happen. A lot of times when I started to work as a comic, I'm talking like introduction level, like doing the road, you know, making a few $100s a week, you'd get calls. This happens so much where they'd be like, hey, there's an audition tomorrow to be on The Office. And I'd be like, cool. They're like, can you go in? I'm like, I'm in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Can I send in a tape? And they're like, no, you have to be in person. I'm like, what? Aren't you my agent? Don't you know where I am? They're like, oh yeah, sorry, you can't do it. Like that would happen over and over and over and over.
So it's almost like missed potential
opportunities
basically.
that just kind of go away.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So from your very first night you did stand up in April, how long until you were back on stage again? Was it like an immediate, like I got to get this going, or?
I mean, I think I wanted to, but I was also, I mean, there's this thing where you're kind of scared, and you also don't. It's not so easy when you start to like get spots. So I just would be like, I would love to do another one, and they would be like, yeah, you know, whatever, June. And at the time, I didn't even know that wasn't a lot. I was like, oh yeah, I did it in April, did it in June, August.
Yeah.
I'm getting up. Like you didn't know that people got up multiple times a night.
Did you find that you, whether it's luck or not, or skill, that like you consistently got people to like enjoy your sets, or did you run into like some real big bombs early on?
Oh my God. I mean, both things happen where like you would have good sets, sometimes like really good, where you're like, oh my God, it's exactly what you need. Like, meaning like it gives you the confidence that like, yeah, you know what? I am on the right track. I felt like I could do something like this, and here I am doing it. And it, like, you're like, it like reassures you that like, it might not be all working out for me right now, but this is like the path, and I like it. I like figuring this stuff out and performing. And then like some catastrophic bombs, you know, where like
Anywhere you like literally considered like maybe this isn't for me?
I remember one of the worst bombs that I had was it was a few years in, so I had already like, you know, had been working at this point, and I want to say it's 05. I think it's 05. So I'm not like a veteran comedian, but I had been featuring, meaning like the middle act, and I had 20 good minutes. And to be completely fair, I had killed with this 20 minutes at different locations, you know, like a variety of places. And it was Bert. Bert took me. He goes, I'm headlining this, like the club in Sacramento. And we drove up together, and it was MC, me middling, Bert headlining. And I remember it was a Friday night. sold out. And I went up there and bombed. I mean, straight up bombed for 22 straight minutes. Oof. You're supposed to do 25. That's what it was. You're supposed to do 25 at that club. And I mean, flop sweat, just like pouring sweat.
Oh man.
And absolutely. And I got off stage, and the first person I ran into is the manager of that club. It was a woman, and she goes, "What the fuck?" And I was like, I'm shell shocked. And she was like, "I thought you were supposed to be good. Like, what is this?" Ooh. And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Also, you did less time. Like, you're supposed to do 25. What the fuck, man?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I just, I was like totally floored by the bomb.
Yeah.
And I go back in the green room. Even the MC, who's like, there's a hierarchy to it, right? He was like, "God damn." He was like, "You really ain't shit, man." I was like, "Cool, yeah." And so now that's the early show. There's a late show. There's 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Dude, I go on the late show. If it's possible, bomb harder.
Really?
Harder. And when I got...
Was that because you were already in your head? Or?
I think I was probably in my head. And I also... looking back, I know one of the things I did was I tried opening on like a real edgy joke that I probably just didn't have the skill set yet to open with. Like, I probably had the right idea, but some of these things, like, it takes...
You have to work it. You got to
maybe you lost them too early.
I lost them out of the gate. Like, I was opening with it. And so right away, they were like, "This guy is fucking insane and bad." and then I would go back to my set that works, and it would bomb. Like, it would bomb.
Because you already lost them, right?
And I remember I'd already lost them. I remember I went back to my hotel, and I literally was smoking cigarettes on the balcony and contemplating my life and my life's choices. Shit. I was like, dude, maybe I don't know how to do this. Like, maybe this is not for me. Like, really, really thinking about it. And lying, like, I was dating Christina, and she was like, "How's that?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of, they're a little tight." Like, I was lying. Instead of being like very vulnerable at it, I was too scared, I think, to share that vulnerability, and I was just like, they weren't great, like I remember doing that.
And was she a comic at the time too?
She was a comic. Like, we're both kind of like the same level, like, and so now we have to go back to that club for 2 shows Saturday, right? And I remember,
what did Bert say?
Well, that's the thing. He had seen me have great sets.
Yeah.
And that's why he brought me, And he goes, we got to the club, and he goes, "Can I just give you one piece of advice before your set?" And I was like, because he knew I was completely shell-shocked by this. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Just open differently. Just do anything you want, but just don't open the same way. Just do something else to open." And I go, yeah, okay, I'll do that." Dude, I went out there, and I had one of the best sets I've ever had.
Wow.
Damn.
By doing that. And I still remember at this time, I wanted to run into the lady.
You seen that?
So I got off stage.
You're at 24 minutes. You're like, "Bitch, you better be waiting for me."
I walk around, and I'm like, "Where is she? And then she like moves this curtain, and she goes, "How'd it go?" And I go, "You fucking know how." Like, she was like, "How'd it go?"
Oh,
like,
wow.
"You heard 300 people dying." And she was like, "It went well?" And I go, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, fucking thank God." And the thing is, she knew it went well. You know what I mean? Like, she was like,
she wanted to play dumb.
She was playing, I was like, "Bitch, you know how it went." There was a curtain. You can't hear through the curtain. So, and then the second show, same thing. Like, it was back to back. And I even remember that MC. He goes, "I have never seen somebody do as poorly as you did."
Jesus.
One night, and then do this well the next night. And I was like,
and
I really attribute it to what Bert said. It really was, don't come out with that. Like, they don't know you, and you're coming out with this super aggressive, crazy joke. They're like, "Who is this guy? Like, you're crazy."
Which is your style.
Kind of, yeah. But I think you also, like, look, if the material is good, it will always work. In other words, it probably also wasn't just like well-crafted joke. I was just saying something that I thought was like funny, and I remember it was about Hurricane Katrina.
So yeah,
and I remember
the boys are actually asking, what was the joke?
it was about Hurricane Katrina. I remember that because '05 was Katrina, and I was like, it was like the aftermath of Katrina, and there was news reports about people were like people in the aftermath of this chaos, and I my joke, I don't remember the exact wording and everything, but I was like, did you hear this?
Oh my God.
And then I was like, yeah, because I don't know about you, something like, sometimes, because they also said like in Katrina there was dead bodies floating around. I was like, sometimes you see like a body float and you're like, I feel like fucking today, like that kind of, and that was like my opener. And I was like, so how's everybody doing?
Oh my God. Everyone's like, "Yo,"
and then everybody was like, nah, nah.
How do you, like, back then? How would you get through like bombing like that? Like, how do you get the courage to like stand back up and get after it?
It's so funny to watch. You learn so much more by watching people bomb. Mm-hmm. You learn so much more as a comedian. It's the best thing for a developing comic to see, is to see a good comedian eat shit. Mm-hmm. It's the best thing for you. Absolutely the best. You learn so much more than you do watching somebody crush.
Because like everyone does it basically.
Everyone does it, and you see that like it's encouraging you to like everyone has to take chances.
Yeah.
You're gonna bomb. The likelihood of bombing happens more if you're taking chances, if there's risk involved. So it shows you that like even the best people take risks. And if you don't take any risks, you're not going to bomb, but you're also not going to come up with like a great joke.
You're playing it too safe.
Yeah.
Almost. You'll never like develop.
1,000%. The best jokes that like I've ever come up with, or that I've seen other people come up with, all came from a place where it didn't work first. Mm-hmm. Like it fell on its face, and some part of you just kept trying to make it work. So you need to see it. I mean, the way you handle it also evolves and changes. Like when you first bomb, you're so stunned by the experience that you literally you sit in it and you feel shame and humiliation, and you sweat and you want to kill yourself. Like it's horrible. It's the harshest feeling.
Oh yeah.
I always tell people, you know what it feels like? It kind of feels like telling someone I love you in front of people, and they going, well, I don't love you.
Oof.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But then you also have to keep saying I love you for 18 more minutes.
for
you
18 more
gotta
minutes.
stay up
But like,
there
let
and-
me explain to you my love for you. I don't want to hear it.
Oh my God.
It's like those Jumbotron proposals
Yeah.
of like NBA games where the girl's like, no. And you're like, oh my God. Like that's what
Yeah.
it feels like to bomb. It's a horrible feeling. I think as you develop, you start to develop skill sets. So then you could be bombing or in bombing. And what you start doing is a more seasoned comedian starts making fun of the fact that he's bombing. Sometimes doing that can turn the crowd.
Bring you right back. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't start like that, dude. You
For
don't
sure.
have that ability.
Well, you got to be so fast on your feet.
Yeah.
Right there.
You have to be able to like comment on what's happening, and you can't do that at the beginning.
It kind of reminds me a little bit about skating. Is there's like some similarities with like professional skating and kind of learning from your bombing in a way.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, like, if you're not falling, you're not trying hard enough.
That's
You're
exactly
just
the same.
Playing it safe, you're never going to progress. But if you're falling, that means you're actually skating. You're actually trying things you don't know how to do, trying to like push the envelope,
Yeah,
So-
that's exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't develop without falling.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in your field, you got to cut your finger off.
Well, so that's the thing is like, hopefully you don't cut it off. I've cut chunks of it off. But the thing, I mean, and I imagine it's actually similar to skateboarding. Well, I know it's similar to skateboarding, and I imagine it's similar to bombing. There's a thing about cutting yourself. You never cut yourself in the same spot twice.
Right.
Because you learn from that
Ever.
mistake.
Well, you just, over time, like you learn how to position your, like, so now you see like on Instagram or whatever, someone will like chop without looking. So like I can just, I can just have a conversation and move quickly.
Sure.
And my hands just, I don't have to think about them because, I mean, look, I'm missing a giant chunk here. I'm missing a chunk there.
Dude, I filleted this.
Did you?
Filleted it a few months ago where I had got back, and we had it was a brand new knife.
Oh yeah, so sharp.
And I took a package that it was like a hamburger meat package. And I was just going like holding it. It was like really tight. I was like, I'll just slice it like this. And I just went, and the skin just folded open. I was like, fuck.
Yep.
And I'm like constantly telling the kids, you gotta be careful with this shit. And they were like,
Well,
how
the thing
about
is,
you, man?
I promise that won't. You will not cut that part again. You might cut a little bit to the left, a little bit to
Isn't
the
it
right.
crazy that when I grab a knife now, so far it's been an immediate thought every time.
Yeah.
Don't hold it like that.
Reminds you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a. I don't even remember what finger. Oh, right here. Look at that one.
Yeah.
So like I had a a lot of it comes from talking shit sometimes. I had a cook who was like we would make our own prosciutto, and he had been slicing it without taking off the skin, and like I found out he was, and I like, you can't, and so I was like I'm like, no mother, grab it here, let me show you. And the skin was so dry that like it caught and it went ding, and with his knife, it was the wrong knife, I grabbed it out of his hand, but I basically hit myself and hit the bone. And I remember I hit it, and it went psst, and just shot blood all over the wall. He almost passes out.
Really?
And I was just like, immediately just put it in your mouth immediately.
Yeah.
But I'll never.
You won't do that again.
No, that wasn't even the right way to do it. It was just like I was angry. It was the heat of the moment. I was like, give me that fucking thing, and But anyways, yeah. The point is, I think that you have to develop those muscles.
You got to, it's all this cliche shit. The reason that it's like that is because it applies to life across the board. It's like if you're writing, you got to write bad shit. Mm-hmm. If you're performing, you have to bomb. If you're skating, you got to like. It's the way. Like everyone who's the best in our fields has eaten shit.
Yeah.
So much.
So many times.
Yeah, and like that's the cool thing is like, I remember going to the Improv on Melrose in LA. And like one day, Chris Rock walked in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm like the biggest Chris Rock fan," because like for my age and my development, it's like in high school when you're like your sense of humor is really like developing, and it's just you and your buddies like hanging out, and like everyone's trying to make each other laugh all the time. Bring the Pain comes out in like 95 or 96, and that thing was like. It's so much more massive than I think something we can relate to these days because it was before streaming. It was HBO, and that was the premium place to be.
Yeah.
And also that shit played 24 hours. Like they would replay it on all the other HBO. Like you just saw it all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, he's the golden goose to me in stand-up, like he's just it. And they're like, he just walked in. I was like, holy fucking shit. And I just trailed him. And he was like, he didn't even ask for an introduction. He just walked up on stage. Like the MC was like, give it up for, Kevin, whoever went last. And then he just walked on stage.
Damn.
And the MC was like, oh. and the place did a standing ovation.
Yeah.
It was an impromptu thing. They did a standing ovation. And he was like, thank you. Lower your expectations. That's the first thing he said. And then he had like a trying shit out set.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You're so used to seeing the polished specials.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember, he was like, I just got back from South Africa. And he goes, I met Nelson Mandela. And he goes, I can't believe Nelson Mandela was willing to meet me. Like, he goes, he's talking about like, world change. I was like, you seen the new iPod? Like he was like throwing these out, but they were just kind of like riffs, right?
Yeah,
like it's like how you figure shit out. And so they weren't like crushing bits. And I remember just clocking, I was like, oh, like he does this too, which is such a good lesson for a comedian who's like watching the top of the food chain to go like, oh yeah, he just goes like, yeah, this is what I did.
He's working it out.
Yeah, and it didn't go like unbelievable. And you go, oh, so the best guy does it the way we do it.
Yeah.
That was a great lesson for me.
I think of it like, it's like finding out that, Michael Jordan shoots 100 free throws, or like somebody, you sit there and do 100 heel flips, but not everyone realizes the work that actually has to go into it before your part comes out, and you see it on TV.
Yeah.
So okay, so how do you end up? I mean, how do you end up going from like from essentially that night with Bert where you go from bombing and you're learning to like how do you get like where do you go from there? Like how do you?
So from there, it's like you keep trying to get spots, and then you're really lucky when, well, the Improv and some big comics would like bring me on the road to like I met Rogan because I won the Bud Light Maxim Real Men of Comedy tour.
No way.
Seems like it'd be something up his alley.
Yeah. A contest. It was a contest. And if you showcased and you won this contest, then you got to open in 3 cities. And this was like a 30-city tour.
Okay.
And the lineup was John Heffron, Charlie Murphy, Joe Rogan. And I got to do it in Irvine, San Diego, and Phoenix. Dude, you got 3 minutes. 3 minutes is nothing.
That's
like,
so fast.
You have to like.
That's a complete. I imagine it's a completely different style of writing than writing for 20 minutes.
Well, you just. Oh my God, for sure. And you're like, well, I got to get out this, and this, and like, so we did Irvine, which I was at the club, San Diego, which was at. I'm trying to remember if it was a theater. I don't even remember. And last stop was Phoenix, and that was the Celebrity Theater. And I remember I went out there. I did my 3 minutes. I got a couple like big pops, like big laughs. And I got off, and like Rogan was like, "Hey, that was really funny. Take my let me get your number, and like, do you want to come on the road with me sometime?" And I was like, "Yeah." But I was also used to other people saying that, and people say that and they just don't do anything.
Yeah.
And then Charlie was the second to last that night, and then he was like. He was also super nice to me. He was like, "You want to go get sushi?" And I was like, "Yeah." This is, by the way, this is like Chappelle Show time.
How old are you at this time?
I'm probably 27 or something.
So you're what, like 5 years in?
Yeah.
4 years in?
Yeah, like 5 years in, I think, yeah. And he was like, "You want to go get sushi?" I was like, "Yes, dude." And
Fuck
so
yes, dude.
I went and had dinner with, like, Rogan just asked me for my number. I'm at dinner with Charlie Murphy. And I remember I got back and Charlie was like, I go, "Well, this is it for me, man. Like, this is my last gig." He goes, "It ain't your last." He goes, "It ain't your last gig. It ain't your last gig, man." He goes, "It's your last gig when I say it's your last gig." I was like, "Okay." So he was like, "Give me your number." I was like, "All right." I was like, "I'm fucking hitting it out of the park tonight." And I gave my number to like his right-hand guy. Never heard from Charlie again. And like 2 weeks later, Rogan called me. He was like, "Hey, do you like the UFC?" And I lied. I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Not really." And he was like, "Well, there's a UFC in Tampa. I'm gonna do the club the night before, so we'll fly there, do a couple shows, and then go to the UFC the next day." And I was like, "Yeah, sweet."
Sick,
It's crazy.
dude.
But what happens is like when you do a couple gigs like that with like big names, Russell Peters took me out, Jay Moore took me out, is then the club goes, "Oh, like this person's working with notable people.
You're vouched for.
You're vouched
Yeah.
for," and they start to give you just more weekend work. Now, it was the lowest rung of work. So they're like, "Yeah, you could go work the Kansas City Improv. You'll make $600 and we won't pay for you to get there."
Oh wow.
So, you know,
You'll break even.
yeah, you
You'll
break
make $100
even.
bucks.
Yeah, maybe you'll net $100.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of shit. But doing that, like,
Well, you build the name.
yeah,
right?
and most importantly, you just do gigs on the road in front of all different audiences, red states, blue state, all over, of people who have zero idea who you are, and you're just honing like the material. So it gets to a point where like, man, you can, if you're working at it, you're working that much, you can do that 20 minutes anywhere and you start to just like crush.
Yeah.
You know how to work like each crowd basically, right?
Yeah,
There's
you-
like different parts
There's
of
tweaking you do.
Yeah.
And you make the writing kind of undeniable. Where you're like, this is just whether we're aligned, you just can't deny that it's a well-crafted kind of bit.
That's
And
awesome.
you do that you end up doing that. I did that in 06, 07, 08. I think I probably got my very first headlining gig around then, like a one-time, one-night headlining gig. And it was back to the thing. And by the way, I'm working part-time now in post-production at a production house as a post coordinator, which is basically kind of like a scheduler. But I'm doing that because I'm still not like, you can't survive on $100 that you made,
For
right?
sure.
And then some of those guys would be like super supportive. Like I remember I worked for this dude, Ryan Abbott, and he was like really supportive. And I was like, hey man, can I leave early? Because these post houses would make you work like 12, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I'd be like, this week, if I go to Virginia to do this gig, you know, I'll come in next week and do like a fucking extra shifts. And he was like, yeah, go ahead, man. Like, so he'd let me do that. And then I did so many dumb things. I knew the next step I always felt like was all the great comics had managers, like a big manager. And so the day after I signed with a manager was the day we were supposed to start a new post-production, like on a new show, where I was getting the highest salary I had ever seen at that point, which was, I think, like $1,500 a week. Like, but you know, it's like a paycheck. But I was also going to get overtime, which I would hit like every week. So for me, it would be like, this is like
solid,
good
job.
income. Yeah. I signed with the manager, and the next day I was like, hey man, I have a manager. I can't work anymore.
No.
I gotta resign. And they were like, oh, okay. And then I called that manager.
How old are you at this point?
Probably probably like around the time of the Joe thing, the 27, 28.
I mean, like, was that like with overtime, like $75K a year?
Something like that.
I mean, that's a lot of money for being in your 20s.
I go, no thanks.
Yeah.
I have an audition.
I got a manager.
I remember I told the manager, I go, yeah, I quit my job. He goes, why? I go, because now I'm working with you. And he was like, okay.
It's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That
He's
way.
like, you still gotta like.
So, I mean, what was your work ethic like? Do you feel like it's like listening to your story, it feels like it's almost like you're on this sort of like trajectory that's just sort of like happening around you and to you and with you, and you're doing all the right things to keep it moving and not derail the train. But like, do you feel like it was sort of destined or lucky, or
it's a combination of things? I worked really hard. I did a ton of gigs. I did every gig I was offered in town when I was home. Like, I did the Black Club, I did the gay show, I did the East Side Latino show. I did, like, anywhere that like they were like, you can get on, I would do those. I did every road gig. I mean, I was always working on the road. And so part of that's your hard work.
Yeah.
Part of it is your natural ability, like whatever you have. And then part of it, you get, like, I was lucky that I won that contest, and I met Joe, and I met Russell Peters, and I met Jay, and like they took me on the road, and I was lucky that the club said we can let you work some more. And then, but you know, you just keep working, and then, you know, I was lucky that when I did my first special, I was really lucky that Comedy Central turned me down, because that's where we all wanted to be. People don't, it's hard to like remember it now, but Comedy Central was the spot. That's where you wanted to be. That's where all the big guys were going. And that's where they did Comedy Central half hours and big hours. You know, that's where those breakthrough hours were happening on Comedy Central. And so I was shooting a special on spec, meaning like a producer was investing in it, being like, I can sell this somewhere.
Okay.
And I got Comedy Central to come watch me rehearse it. And they were like, yeah, it was funny, but we don't know. And then I shot it and I sent it to them. And I was like, how about now? Like, it's done. And they were like, nah.
Too risque, or
they just were like, there's not really a theme to it. And that was that's just a way of passing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what their ultimate reason was, but they were just like, no. And then Showtime passed, and like the fourth or fifth on the rung at the time was Netflix. Netflix had only been streaming, this is 2013, for like a little while. You know, it was still like thought of as, isn't that where you mail the DVDs in?
Yeah.
And I remember they were like, well, Bill Burr had done one there, and he had some really good success with it. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think it wasn't like a celebration. You know, you were like, all right. But the thing is, it just kept increasing. Their subscribers just happened to keep growing. Like, there's no way you can plan for that or predict it. It just happened to be that it came out. You know, there was like cool tweets at me that day.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, all right. It's just like I had done other TV stuff, and they're like, hey, I saw you in this thing. Great. And you're like, all right. It was like 6 months later when I would do a club, and they were like, dude, you sold out this weekend. And I was like, oh, really? And they're like, no, like you sold it out. I was like, why? We didn't even put it together.
Sick, dude.
We didn't go like, oh, it was a special. I was like, why? And we didn't even realize.
It was just slowly building.
It was slowly happening.
Yeah.
It was slowly happening.
So was there any like hard, like, was it a hard decision, or was there a lot of thought behind quitting a cushy job as soon as you got a manager, or were you just, it was kind of just like, this just seems like the next thing?
I mean, there was definitely a moment of like, it would really be nice to have a secure paycheck.
Yeah.
I haven't had one yet. Like, in the entire time I've been at that point, it's like,
was there any thought of like, I don't want to get addicted to that type of paycheck? And
yes, because I knew people.
Yeah.
I knew so many comics that I started with that what happens is, and it's a totally logical thing
Yeah.
to do. They were like, well, I have a good job somewhere. So
Once
I'll
you,
do
once you
stand up.
taste that money that you didn't have before, it's very difficult to
Yeah,
go
they're
back.
like, I'll do stand up like casually.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'll do it, but like, I have this job. This job is what I need. And yeah, I would not let myself be that. I was like, no, it's stand up, you know. I even wrote about it that like, I think if you do one of the arts, you have to get obsessed.
Yeah.
You have to be completely like, it is what it is, man. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I'll live in this shitty place.
I've always thought the idea of a work-life balance suggests that work is not your life.
Yeah.
You know, and so like there doesn't need to be a balance between, I mean, eventually you have children and you
Yeah.
need to spend time with them, but like if you're not, you basically need to figure out how to monetize the thing that you want to do from the time you wake up to
You
go
have to
sleep.
figure it out.
Yeah.
And now the other thing is you find all these so many comics who they think if they just do stand up and don't think about the fact that it's a business, like they're just like, I don't think like that. That's okay. You're like, yeah, that's not gonna work, dude. You know what I mean? They go,
Yeah.
someone will just know that I'm funny. You're like, no, you have to work at the other. You have to like send out your material, show like you have to put effort into that.
Well, I think
too.
that shows in like what you've done, in your career now, having this, giant studio, producing all these things. I mean, several specials, TV show. I mean, how do you go from just like, all right, I got, I'm just doing stand up to like one podcast, two podcasts, having a bullpen.
It's a great question, and I'm going to tell you after I pee. I got to go to pee real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, I really feel like I'm like it's known when people are around me a lot. They're like, "Hey, before we go to this thing, do you need to pee?" I'm like, yeah, probably.
Okay, I should probably.
Salt's good though. I every time I walk, well, not every time, but I'll often just take like a little salt and just
Throw it in.
yeah,
Pop it back.
My
yeah.
daughter's obsessed with salt.
Really?
I mean, she's obsessed. I mean, she's eaten. The first time I knew I definitely didn't need a paternity test was watching her handle a ribeye,
Just knew
like a
that.
bone-in
Yeah.
tomahawk. At 2 years old, she grabs it and is eating off the bone. I'm like,
That's awesome.
that's my daughter.
We're good. We're good.
My oldest, he loves cooking, loves it.
Oh, that's
I mean,
awesome.
And he's always like, I show you this thing I made. Like he's inventing things,
That's so sick.
Trying. It's
He's
so
what,
cool.
7,
He's
8?
9 now.
9.
He's 9.
Oh, that's
Always like, hey, look at this. I did this thing where I made a coffee cake within another cake. Like, he's 9 years old. He's just like trying
That's so
things.
dope.
Dude, I was for my
Loves it,
for
right?
my 11th birthday. I wanted a bread cooker.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
He asked me, he's like, can we get some more cooking equipment? I'm like, sure.
That's
man.
dope.
So last night I got back from New York, and he was like, what are you making? I go, I'm gonna make a couple steaks. He's like, I'm gonna make fries. I'll kind of introduce you to how I do it. And I go,
Sick.
and I go, let's do that. And he got out a pot. He puts vegetable oil in it. Turn on the heat. Got out 4 potatoes. He's like, all right, rinse it and then slice it. And he goes,
Oh, he's teaching you how to do it?
He was telling me. He
Ah.
was like, I'll use this slicer's kind of better. I'll use it. You use the other one. I was like, okay. So we're peeling it. Sorry. So we peel the potatoes, and then he's like, now slice like into like the size fries that you want. I go, okay. And then he put like this type whatever flour into a thing. So he floured them up. And he goes, now the biggest thing you got to pay attention to. And he's on a step stool with tongs. He's like, when I put it in here, he's like, you don't want them golden. I go, oh no? He goes, no. He goes, that's like a lower level thing. He goes, you want them golden brown.
Oh,
He goes,
nice.
so like if you see like yellow fries, he goes, that's like low level. He goes, we do it like high.
So
So
sick.
we'll wait till they're brown. So I would take him. I go, how's this? He goes, gold. I'm gonna put it back. And he loves salt. So he uses Lowry's seasoning.
Yeah.
I
And
grew
he
up with
goes-
that.
He goes, he's seasoned. He shakes it around. He goes, I like it really salty. So if you don't want it, you can go ahead and do it how you like it. I go, thanks, man.
Sick, dude.
He took me through it like he was training me to work in his restaurant.
What I love is you talk about your kids so much, and so I've met them, and they are exactly like with the voice and everything.
People are
Like,
always
I can
like-
actually watch him do this in my mind right
They're
now.
like, you making that up? I go, no,
No.
it's not made up, man. No, they're just like that. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Fuck, what was the?
Oh, you had asked me about starting a certain way and then like getting into like production and all that.
Yeah. I think it had something to do with the work ethic or something of like, I mean, you were saying that like a lot, like some of the younger comics are like, I'll just do good work and somebody will recognize it.
Yeah.
Versus like going out and saying, fuck you, I'm gonna just like build this thing.
That, I mean, yeah, first of all, it makes me crazy to like, it upsets me to know these comics who are really funny, who are like, yeah, but I never like reach out to anyone about anything. And you're like, what the fuck, man? You know, it's like, no one's gonna
Give it to you.
Yeah, no one's gonna just go to the skate park and be like, "You're good. Would you like a professional career?"
Yeah, no,
You're
And if
gonna,
it
like-
happens to 1 in a million.
exactly. And so people hear like those 1 in a million stories, and they go, "That'll happen to me." And it's like, it's not gonna happen to you, bro.
You got to grind.
You gotta try.
Yeah.
So it's like, and here's the thing: some of them like they work really hard and they're really funny, but they don't do the other shit. And I understand actually too. I mean, like it is scary, and it is like there's not like a blueprint of like, so you know, it's not like you're following. I want to be a doctor. Where they're like, go to this, and then
Yeah.
go to that, and then you know, do your residency. You're a doctor. You know, it's not like that. So there's a lot of that in stand up, but yeah, you know, I mean, I think we all model in some way. Like after like my dad was a really hardworking guy. You know, I saw him get up every day, go to work every day, and I always had a good work ethic. Like I had I was, you know, as soon as I turned 13, 14, you know, summer, instead of summer being like go have a good summer, it was like get a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Make some money. Yeah.
I had a job all through college, a part-time job at some place in college. I always worked. So I mean, I think I just applied that to like what this is like do the creative side, but then, you know,
Yeah, the work ethic seems to shine through like super bright because like it seems like a lot of people have to be like, I gotta work, and you're just like, yeah, working is part of it.
I think it's like,
and so it's just like now you get to not have to focus on overcoming having to work hard, but now you get to focus on the creative art
yeah,
and actually put in the hard work on the thing that you care about.
exactly. And I like it, man.
Yeah.
I like working at it.
What kind of made you diversify kind of what you do, right? So like,
Yeah.
how did you get into YMH and all the shows and
Reluctantly.
all that stuff?
Yeah, I didn't want to. I really didn't want to.
Okay.
I think if you had told me I could have a stand-up career and do this stuff without podcasting ever, I never would have podcasted.
So that was sort of a means to an end.
Yeah, it was like, here's the thing. It's just I'm, for the most part, like a pretty private person. Like I'm not a open book. Let me just tell you everything. You know, it's not my personality.
For sure.
And so the idea of like what I knew about podcasts at the time was like going on there and just like talking about yourself. And I was like, I don't want to fucking do that. It's just not natural. But it was Rogan, because I was on like I think I'm like episode 2 or 3 of JRE.
Oh, wild.
And then also like episode 6 and episode 9, episode 30. Like
Sick.
he just
Yeah,
called
yeah.
like 4 of us. You know? And I would sit there with him and I was like, what is this bullshit that you're doing? You know? Like we're doing this. And it felt like, you know, now you know what's out there, but like at the time we're just in his house on a couch.
Like, why are we hanging out with headphones on?
Yeah,
why
why
are we
hang
not
out-
just hanging out?
And I'm like, I left there and I was with Redban. I was like, bro, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I thought it was like a crazy guy thing. I was like, what is this? He was like,
Yeah.
now people are listening. The only reason he knew people were listening because at the time he had a message board
Okay.
on his website. And so you would see all the comments on the message board. And I was like, yeah, but still, this is goofy, man. Like, what is this shit? And then, he kept doing it. That was probably 07, I think, around there. Or maybe it was 09. But by 2010, he had told me multiple times. He was like, dude, you got to start one. He goes, I saw your wife at the Improv. She's hilarious. Why don't you guys do it together? And I was like, that's fucking gay. I don't want to do that. And he kept saying it to me. And so one day I kind of pitched it to her. And she was also like, what are we going to do? Like, what is it? I don't know. Redban said we can go to his apartment. We could do it there. We just showed up and kind of like this. Shot the shit, kind of like figured out things we kind of like to talk about. And we always liked clips, watch some clips, and we kind of did it that way. And I think, Two Bears came about honestly because of the pandemic. Like we had less to do, and we couldn't tour. And like Bert and I were friends. Like, why don't we do this together? And we were doing it once every 2 weeks, maybe once every 3 weeks even. So it was like just a way to like
something
pass the
fun
time,
kill time. So we did that, and then I had zero desire to start a network or like have other shows. It's just one of those things that like, as time progresses, you kind of go like, oh, that would be cool to like.
Was that a post Austin move thing to actually like have like a studio?
No, we did have one in Reseda where we started to produce shows, and honestly, like. People don't know this. These were not money-making ventures.
Yeah.
Like, some of them were straight up losses.
Yeah.
But, like, they were with, like, people we liked, and we liked doing the shows, and it was just fun to, put them together and have, like, this camaraderie, this fun thing there. And we weren't losing on YMH and Two Bears, so we were like, we can do these other shows and, like, produce them and put them out. And it was just a fun thing to do. And then, it expanded when we got here. But I think for me, if you go back to like that 22-year-old that moved to LA, my desire was always to do TV film, like always.
So you basically have you got into podcasting, and this is sort of your movie studio.
Kind of, yeah.
Again, just adjacent.
Just adjacent. And then I finally now have a TV show coming out. Whatever. I can't even do the math. 23 years after I.
That is amazing.
Dude, let's go, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And it is. I mean, it's awesome.
It's exciting. You were there.
I've not seen it.
You were on set because we had NADC burgers.
Yeah, I got
which,
to.
Just so you know, the reviews were like, people were like, "What in the fuck is it?" Like,
dude, hell
people
yes.
flip for your burgers.
During South by, we got invited back to the studio for Rodriguez's party and.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, remember I sent you the text I was like, "Hey, I'm in Cuba."
That's right. Yeah.
So where he was doing his scene, they set up the grill exactly where he was doing the scene that I saw him do. I thought that was fun.
Oh, that's so
fun,
dope.
Yeah. No, I'm so stoked for the show, man. Like, you realize like shows and movies it's so different from stand-up is like a truly solo endeavor.
Yeah.
You write it, you perform it, it's you and a mic. You have people that like help you go from place to place and make sure everything works. But like creatively, it's just you.
Yeah.
And then you do a show and it's 50, 60, 100 people collaborating, which is a whole different experience.
I was just watching a clip of Bert saying like, after this show comes out, you're going to be, this is your last tour.
It was so crazy. We were just like, he was like, "You're done." I was like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "You're going to like this TV stuff so much that," he's like, "you're going to have like not time for something else." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I don't have to break it to you anymore."
I mean, if you're going to do shows and movies and stuff, you won't be able to tour 348 days a year.
That's true. That's true. Now I'll be on location somewhere doing that. Yeah. No, it was funny because Christina was like, "Oh, that'd be great. I'm so glad you can do movies and TV because we have a couple things lined up now." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Then you can be home every night." I was like, "Wait, where do you think these things shoot?" She goes, "Well, you'll do them all in town." I go, "I can't dictate that everything shoots in town."
Yeah.
She's like, "Where's it going to shoot?" I was like, "I don't know, Sydney, Australia, like wherever they tell me it's shooting." She was like, "Oh, well, hold on a second, maybe." Yeah, I'm like, no.
What's cool about that too is like if you're doing filming a show somewhere like Australia or something, then you could do shows kind of around.
You could.
There
I don't think
if you wanted to.
I don't think I could ever, honestly, because I've thought about this, like truly give up stand up.
Yeah.
You can give up a tour.
Yeah.
But you
can play less.
You
but
can play
playing
less.
zero is.
I don't think I could do it. I mean, I have this thing sometimes where you're like, it's so fun to get a break sometimes. You literally are like, man, I don't want to see a microphone. I want to get. But it doesn't take that long before you start like, it's like when you haven't trained.
Yeah.
You know, when you're like, I need a break. And you have a few days off and you're like, feel good. And then like, I don't know, a few days later, you're like, man, I need to like, I got to, you know.
Start moving.
Yeah,
and it
you
almost like
feel it
makes you
inside.
more hyped to train because you've taken
Yeah.
some time away, which like brings that love back.
Time
into
away is
you.
important. It is. And I think for creatives, it's important in any of the creative arts. But yeah, it's too much a part of my DNA to do stand-up. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I just can't imagine not doing it.
How long did you have to take off when you had your accident?
Oh my God. How long did I not go on stage for? It was probably the longest I've ever not been on stage.
That's what I figured.
I'm going to say 3 months. I think 3 months.
Wow, 3 months? That's all it took for the rehab?
No, but it was probably the amount that I was like, okay, I can, because I remember I couldn't walk for the first 6-7 weeks. So it was tough to do stand-up.
Yeah.
And then you're like really gently walking. And I think it was another, 6 to 8 weeks before I was like, okay, I'll wear this brace under these pants.
The boot.
So I didn't want it to be like a thing where you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
But I had a hand brace that I would wear because I had to. But I eventually, I think it was probably around 3 months.
What'd you do to your leg and your
I
arm?
tore the patellar tendon.
Ooh, the
and then
front one.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
broke the humerus.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that scar is.
This guy right here, the big guy.
The big guy, shattered, totally
Oh
shattered.
my
yeah.
goodness. How's the recovery so far?
I mean, I'm super lucky that it was like, the bone wasn't the issue. Like that's gonna come back together. It was the nerve damage. So I had nerve damage in my arm, but I had a nerve surgery.
Okay.
About 6-7 months later, and then even that it took me like 2 full years to get over the nerve surgery. Like your body slowly, if you don't do the nerve surgery, people don't know that your nerves, if it's not firing, your body will consume the nodules, and like that nerve just will die. But because I did the nerve transfer, it reconnects, but then it takes a while to fire
For
correctly.
the brain to like
fire.
fire.
So like I remember I had like this, I was doing a curl with this arm like after surgery, and it had been like a year.
Yeah.
And it was it wasn't a weight that was too much weight. It was that the nerve just would not fire to curl it.
Okay.
So I was like, you're doing like 20s and you move to 25 and your arm would just go like just stop there.
Crazy.
And I was like, oh, that's the bar.
Yeah.
Like I can't curl a 25-pound weight. And then like a year later, it was like, oh, it moves past it now.
Wild.
And then you go up to 30 and like you're like stop, and then like 6 months later,
Little by little.
but it's like it doesn't feel like regular training progression. It's like another level of it.
Neuromuscular.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Where it's like, oh, that can work now. Yeah.
Wild.
That is, I mean, what did that feel like? Not physically feel like, but like emotionally, like what does that feel like to, because I mean, there had to be a moment where you were like, fuck, will I even walk? Like,
No, dude, it completely broke me.
yeah.
It was catastrophic for me. Like, I think the thing is too that like I would talk to people who they're like, oh yeah, like I tore my ACL once, and I'd be like, yeah, dude, that's not what I'm talking about. Like my injuries were like car accident injuries.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so gnarly.
They're so gnarly, and it also was like I was immobile
Yeah.
in a room during the pandemic, couldn't have visitors, nurses with masks and shit on, and like I had to be like, I need water, I need the temperature changed, I need to, so I felt like literally helpless.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it fucked me up emotionally bad. Yeah.
And that's not a thing. The feeling of hopeless, or not hopelessness, but of being sort of like helpless. That's not something you've had to deal with a lot in your career.
No, and I was not prepared for that at all. Like,
How do you deal with that?
I mean, I remember, the people, it's funny because doctors and nurses are one thing, but the people who kind of know that it's coming, that you're going to be fucked up, are the PTs. the physical therapists, because they work with people every day that are coming off of injuries and accidents and stuff. And I remember that my PT, Dr. Karen, she was like, did you get kind of down like yesterday? And I was like, no. And she goes, it's coming. And I go, what? And she's like, oh, it's coming. And I was like, what is she talking about? She's like, it's okay. Like, just know that like it's gonna happen. You're gonna get real depressed. And I was like, what a weird thing to say, right? And I was like, nope. And that was like on a Friday or something. And Monday I saw her. I was like, yeah, I cried all week. She was like, I told you. Like she knew.
But that's part
She
of the
knew.
healing process, right?
It's part of it. It's part of it. It's part of like, I think she said you just see it in the traumatic orthopedic injuries. She goes, people at some point just really, she's like, I've seen it thousands of times. So she's like,
it's got to be semi-neurological, right? With breaking bones and fucking up nerves and
the feeling of like, you're essentially like reverting to almost being a baby in a way, right? So like, we're like adults who have complete control over what we do, how we move, what we want at all times. And like to have a sudden change where you're like, can you feed me? Can you bathe me?
Yeah, that has to be so harsh.
It's very harsh. And I also think that the COVID aspect of it plays a role too, because there was also this atmosphere of like the unknown. It was December of 2020 and people are dying everywhere. And like, you know, I masked up and, you know, I never saw nurses' faces. I just see their eyes, you know,
just in this room by yourself.
Week
no visitors
after week.
probably.
Yeah,
right?
no, like a visitor would come in. You know, Christina had the boys at home. They were even younger. She'd come in for a little bit. I got to go take care of the kids. And like, no friends were allowed to come. Yeah, it was fucking weird.
It's really bad TV too, probably.
It sucked, man.
3 channels or something.
Sucked. It was really shitty. Yeah.
Oh, man.
it was post that though that you started like getting into like fitness and stuff though, right?
Yeah, it was a total.
Is that what sort of was a physical therapy something that sort of ignited that?
Well, she told me too. She goes, you'll be in the best shape of your life. Like, you don't feel like it now, but like a year or so from now, she goes, you'll be in the best shape of your life. And I was like, huh? She was like, because like this is going to affect you in a way that you're going to just prioritize training and taking care of yourself. And it totally was a thing where,
fuck yeah.
because you real like the day I got injured, I was 247 and I was fucking trying to dunk. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like, and here's the thing. I wasn't like, it's not that crazy if you were like, oh, that's what I do all the time. I just did that on a whim out of nowhere. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like my body was not only out of shape and deconditioned, but I'm trying to do this explosive movement.
Yeah, and you haven't been doing that at all.
So your body's like,
oh.
what is this guy doing, man?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And we did it. You know, we did it for a fucking hour before the injury.
Yeah.
Like we were running and jumping and exploding with every ounce of energy we had, which is why it tore.
Just
you know?
dunking
Blasting
it.
off. Yeah, and it was just, yeah. But it makes you go like, oh, what happens is you kind of go like, oh, I can break. I can die. These things that you go like you never consider, they become like they're in your face now. You're like, oh, these horrible things can happen. And like if that's the case, like I gotta take better care of myself. For sure. Know? I'm like in my 40s and I'm fucking around eating garbage and not caring about training or anything. Like, yeah, it was a big, big lesson, man.
I mean, do you ever reflect on it and think, now maybe this is an extreme version of, but like have gratitude for the fact that puts you on a new path in your life that
100%.
Potentially is going to give you more longevity?
100%. It was the worst, one of the worst moments, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It was really, really bad, but it definitely set me off in a different direction. It's like an awakening. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it was a really bad thing that put me on a better path.
I mean, isn't that essentially what happened to you?
In a way, but I wasn't in the hospital forever. You know, it's kind of like I've had like ACLs and stuff, but pretty much like that injury was extreme enough for me to like kind of put me on a better path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go, somebody goes, do you want to do you want to relive that? You're like, fuck no.
No.
That was
Hell
horrible.
no. Yeah.
But I'm glad that it shifted my perspective.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today if
Yeah.
I didn't have that, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure like you could attest to that as well. You
Oh
know?
my God, dude.
It's like,
If I had, I mean, I think about it, like if that hadn't happened that day, I mean, I really don't know. I don't think a lot of my life would have taken the path that it has taken.
Yeah, I mean, now you you just sold out Madison Square Garden.
That was crazy.
2 days ago, huh?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Insane.
That was insane. Yeah, and we've had like some record-breaking, like we broke the record in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena.
Crazy.
You know, we sold out the United Center in Chicago. That was like for me the biggest deal, being like a '90s kid with Jordan. Like,
Chicago,
Jordan.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I was like, we're at the United Center. This is fucking nuts.
It's my hometown right there.
Yeah, I mean, so like I was, you know, I told the audience that night because we were in the round, like we sold it out in the round, and so I was like, you know, when I moved to Milwaukee, in like '90, and we always had little brother complex to Chicago.
Yeah.
Because it was the big city that was pretty close.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got WGN in Milwaukee. So, you know, we would watch Chicago television and all the Chicago sports play. So I watched like every Bulls game for several years on WGN and like Jordan was like just beyond an icon, like, right? Like every kid.
He's so legendary.
So legendary. And I'd never been to the United Center. And we go there and I was just like, this is bananas. Like, you know, you go watch this, look at the statue, and I got to tour the locker room, and like, you know, all that shit was like, it was, I don't know, left an impact, you know.
It's an interesting idea, but I think gratitude goes hand in hand with finding success.
Yeah.
And I think specifically finding gratitude in things that others would find or not be able to find gratitude in. You know,
Yeah.
being able to look back at something like I've dealt with partners embezzling and
Yeah.
you know all this kind of stuff. And although I would never wish it on my worst enemy, I definitely wouldn't trade it for the world because I'm very happy where I am today, and I would not. You know, like my first restaurant I ever had, no straight legitimate businessman would have given me that opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
It took somebody who was willing to, you know, flee the country with money,
Yeah, a criminal.
allegedly,
Yeah.
to partner with me at 25 years old.
It's an extension of like falling to persevere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's a bomb. You have to have other versions of bombing.
And the more often that you bomb, it's like I always have this analogy of like I think what separates, you know, success from the desire for success is when you get up to that ledge and you look down and you can't even see the you know what's beyond. Taking that leap of faith is the first step to finding success. But when you land and you literally or figuratively break every bone in your body,
Yeah.
and you stand up and jump again, that's, I think, when you find success. And there's so
True.
many people who turn back at the first one.
Yeah.
And, you know, the percentage of people who turn back after that first jump is even higher.
Yeah.
And it's after that second jump that you actually, you know, find a level of success that, you know, others, you know, are hopeful to get to one day.
Yeah. I think you're right, man. I mean, all the whole thing, it's so funny, is like, it's all in the thing you really think about a lot is in the work and not in the results.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like I look back on all these different things we're doing, and it's like, it's really about the fact that you fell and got up literally and figuratively to try to do something that's the motivation. Like, that's the thing, is you just love going after something, and that's the drive, that's the fun. The fun is in the work and
Yeah.
doing these things, you know. Like, I mean, you go, yeah, MSG and all United, like, that's really cool, but that's actually like, you know, that's just kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a photo. You go, yeah, that's cool, but like, it's really about all the other shit that goes into making that happen.
Yeah.
That allows that to happen.
The
you know?
journey,
Yeah.
the grind.
That's
really,
that's that work-life balance or lack thereof, where it's like all, you know, I you know, when I was a kid, it was like during summer, it was like you get up in the morning, you go to your friend's house, and you do whatever it is you guys enjoy doing.
Yeah.
As a grown-up with a restaurant, we get up, we go to the restaurant, and we do the thing that we love doing all day till we go to sleep. If you could figure out how to monetize that, that's the only, like,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
But having that, you know, that thing where it's like this, it's, at least for me, I've never been good at, once it becomes a job,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore.
I totally agree. I mean, it's like, you know, I was telling like Christina said this to me when I was doing the show that's coming out. It's called Bad Thoughts. It comes out May 13th on Netflix. She was like, you're coming home after these like 14, 16-hour days. And she's like, you're like fully energized and in a great mood. She's like, I've never seen you like this.
Like, yeah, I've been working towards this for 20-something
like,
years.
I'm having
It's all I've wanted to do.
The most fun doing this. And it's what people always assume TV and stuff. Oh, it must be crazy money. It's not great. It wasn't crazy money. It wasn't a money play. Is my point. It was the joy of doing
passion.
it.
Kinda,
was the thing. And I was like, I'm losing money by going off the road. The road you get paid significantly more. I was like, that's not even a thought in my head.
Yeah,
like I'm having so much fun doing this.
So at this point, you've gone from being, all the way, like we just went through the whole story. Something we like to sort of, bring up at this point, like once we sort of get to where you are today, is like, if we were able to put like a magic lamp on the table and you could get the wish for whatever you wanted, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Like, you can completely illustrate that reality. What is that reality for you?
Well, I think I'm trying to pursue this TV and film stuff much more, and I see a path that I'm on right now. So I would love 10 years from now to have some body of work in that field that I'm like very proud of, as far as whether it's as an actor, writer, producer, director, like just things that I really loved, that I feel like quality work. I'm so happy we made these. I would love to be doing that, actively creating more things like that. I think with stand-up, I don't think I could ever abandon it. So I would probably just be doing tours when I'm not doing something like that. And that would be, to me, like sole focus, and I think would be very fulfilling. At least that's how it feels looking into the lamp 10 years from now.
I feel like that's like full circle.
And then to have like happy, healthy, thriving kids who at that point would be like well into their teens, which was kind of crazy to think about, but you just want to have like, kids that love their life and are in a good place. And obviously the same for Christina, and like seeing her happy and fulfilled is like the same goal. Just to have like family unit that is feeling great and enjoying life, and then career-wise being like, oh, I'm pursuing the thing that gives me fulfillment creatively, And I think for me right now, it feels like that's the path that does that for me.
Hell yeah! Well, it's going to be exciting to follow along, and obviously you will accomplish that.
Well,
so
let's check in 10 years.
Hell yeah! Well, we'll probably have you on again in less than 10 years.
I hope
but
so.
But dude, thank you so much for
thank you guys.
not just being
Thank
here,
you,
but
bro.
for having us. This is,
Dude, I'm so glad. Like, these are like some of my favorite podcasts to do. I do so many podcasts where it's just like, it's fun, but they're silly, and you don't get to have what I feel like are like real conversations, which I personally miss a lot. Like when you have so many that are like silly and like, just nonsense and like saying crazy, awful things, like which is like the wheelhouse that I live in. It's just fun to like have real conversations.
Yeah, and for us too, it's like, we're hoping that with this show, it's like inspirational for people at home who are like, maybe they're scared to take that jump, or they don't know what to do, or, because there's just, and honestly, we wanted to start this kind of semi-selfishly, is like, we get to sit here and actually get little, gems
great
soak it all
of
in,
inspiration, and see how because both of us have, taken that leap of faith a few times, and it's nice to have that conversation. So thank you.
No, my pleasure. And if I will say, the only thing I love to tell, young artists like comics, musicians, actors, whatever, is like, I do love to encourage them. I really do, to be like, look, man, no one cares. Nobody cares. Like, just if you feel the draw to do the thing, you just have to go and do it. And you don't have to tell people you're doing it, but you just got to go do it. And you just don't want to be 20 years later going, I wish I had tried something.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's a
sick.
great way to fucking end it. I think it books ends it perfectly. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Tom.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Hit subscribe now if you want to follow along. We have some awesome guests lined up that we sit down with. Make sure you follow the Not a Damn Chance podcast on socials at NADC Podcast. See you next week.